We should be good now. Ravin, are you here? Ravin is not talking. Ravin is not talking. I'm not late. Okay. Cool it. Fully whistles. Okay. I just can't hear you for some damn reason. I don't know why. Oh, here, hold up. Raven, talk now. Okay. I guess it's not it. Oh, I'm muted. That's why. I'm smart.
Hello.
Oh, and for some reason it's not coming out of my headphones. Oh, because my headphones aren't even plugged into my stupid... See, I was not prepared for this. I was not prepared for the stream yet. Okay? I am well aware. Okay? And that's still coming out of my... There we go. We're good. Okay. Can you hear me now? Am I clear now? Am I good? Am I good? Now you're coming out of my... Talk again, Raven.
Hello.
There we go. Perfect. Okay. Raven, entertain the chat for 1 second. Ow! Fuck.
Hello, chat. How we doing? Do you think they will lose the final of the U20 World Cup? Could do. Would make for a reasonable plot to build up to the actual World Cup.
Yeah.
If you weren't prepared, why did you start it? Because errors authentic.
I thought I had time. I started prepping 15 minutes ago, and everything was taking longer than it needed to. But yeah. So I'm gonna talk about some couple stuff before we actually get into the events of the stream. But Raven's here with me like always. Today we'll be covering chapter 290. We don't have anything. We just have like the raws and some fan translations because they take forever now to get cleans and such. But with someone in our chat versus Loghesh, I want to say, listen, become a member of the channel. You get some extra stuff, some cool bonuses, and because Loghesh is a member, he requested the video, and that will hopefully either drop this weekend or next weekend. I don't know. It just depends on how quickly I can cram a bunch of videos out. But if you want to become a member and get some awesome perks, I'd recommend it. You can go. It's as little as low as $1 up to $10. Support goes directly to the BLUELOCK New World movie. So, I'd recommend becoming a member if you'd like to show your support for that movie and, everything. But yeah, go become a member for Raven's channel too, because he's dropping some cool content. Also, go check out his Isagi video if you haven't. One of his best that he's made in a while. But yeah.
He kills all my content shit every time I upload.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Loghesh had requested a video talking about is Rin too overpowered? So I'm going to be dedicating a whole video to it. Except unlike Hideo, I'm actually going to answer the question and provide my own reasoning. But yeah, if you want to request your own videos and have me dedicate at least like 8 to 10 minutes just talking about the video, I'd recommend it. The $1 a month supports the movie, and you get some cool stickers like Loghesh is using there. Some custom art from all of my thumbnails. All the custom art you see that I make myself or I have assistance with making it through our animation director. He helps me with this. You'll have those as stickers you can use on the channel or anywhere really. So yeah, I would totally recommend becoming a member. Anyways, for today's stream, we'll cover chapter 290 as well as just talk about really anything BLUELOCK. We have some interesting topics to talk about in relation to the current chapter and just overall some stuff, and then we'll take some requests from you guys. We'll answer some questions and debate. Have a good time. So yeah, Raven, is there anything you would like to say before we begin?
Being held hostage.
Good. All right, Okay. So we're here. The chapter begins where the previous one left off, with the ball flying into the air as Rin, Nanase, Karasu, and Shido react to the loose ball. Nanase says, Rin-san. Karasu says, exciting, isn't it, you non-ordinaries? And Shido says, it's time to counter. We see Charles pick up the ball where he says, it's time for PXG's grand finale. He says, ready, go, and he sends a pass all the way upfield to who I believe is Tokimitsu. Isagi begins a short monologue of the current play. He says, shit, that was 100% unexpected. How the hell did he stop us? It was our improvised chemical reaction. And Isagi starts thinking back on the previous play. However, as Isagi's thinking, Rin rushes over and he says, I'm sticking to you within a 4-meter radius. I have all of your physical abilities and specs ingrained into my brain. With my physical prowess and your individual abilities, I can react and stop you within a 4-meter radius, as we see this little water veil surround Isagi and Rin. We see Isagi and Kaiser's puzzle pieces down here in reference to Rin being able to crush them. He says, the most critical moment when you try to link up again, that's what I'm going to hunt down. Isagi freaks out. He says, Rin really is scary. What should we do? If he's on me, should I just try to get away? No. If I do that, the current bastard mission will go and crumble. If I try to move on my own, my link-ups with Kaiser will also disappear even more. In this last moment, Rin has found a new motivation and renewed himself. I can't back myself out. As we see Isagi talking about no chemistry with Kaiser, we see his puzzle pieces of Bastard Mention and overall play of the game begin to disappear. But Isagi activates his Metavision and begins to rush in. He says, I have to win with him in these 4 meters. Rin says, that's right. Come on, Isagi. Your mind, your freedom, your dreams, your spirit, everything most dear to you, I'll fucking destroy it. As we see this little, like, Isagi's little all-seeing eye be swallowed by a puppet hand with the destroyer aura coming around it with the water veil still surrounding. If this isn't a domain expansion, nothing is. Right? Like, there's no way that this is not a domain expansion. With everything we see here, this has got to be something like that. Right? Anyways. Nanase passes the ball and says, just win, connect, even if it kills you. The ball goes to Karasu, who does a one-touch pass to Zantetsu. Karasu says, run, work overtime glasses. And Zantetsu says, lactic acid linear motor car dash. As he sends a pass over to someone. Reichi says, what? They ran here and they didn't stop immediately. Kyoto says, oh no, now they've passed the midfield. The ball lands at Charles' feet, who says, that's right. You want the pass right here, Licky Rin. And he sends a killer pass. However, the ball flies over past Rin and lands at Shido. And he says, not to you, it's Shido time. Now, how do you say this? Jitamin or something like that? I don't know how to pronounce it in French. I don't know how you say it in French. But either way, Shido basically says, I love you, contrarian. Kiori rushes in and says, not yet. He prepares to help on defense to stop Shido. Kunigami then rushes in and hits him with a powerful shoulder charge. And he says, just try to shoot, you vermin. And Shido says, that's sudden, but I'm a contrarian too. As he sends a pass over to his left. Kiori says, he didn't shoot. And Kunigami says, he really passed to Rin. The ball lands at Rin's feet as Isagi is shown to be marking him. He says, Isagi, let's go. It's our final battle. Isagi begins a short monologue again. He says, the goal is 33 meters away. It's just a bit too far for him to shoot. But if we go a few meters ahead, he can definitely shoot there. I need to create a one-action deadline. Shido rushes in from the other side of the field and says, hey, Rin, give me a contrarian pass. Isagi says no. Rin wants to clash with me and then shoot. But I'm just a sacrificial pawn in this play. So now, come on, machine, as Kaiser rushes in from the side and he sees the meta point in which he needs to run into to stop. Kaiser says, it's here, right? The clash and shoot spot. I'm just barging the hell in. Isagi says, you're the best, Kaiser, as he has his Omnivision active. However, Rin rushes in and says, lukewarm. I was waiting for this heat. As he rushes in, he activates his destroyer eyes and rushes towards Kaiser. Kaiser says, this guy. Isagi says, he read this and didn't aim to clash with me, but he aimed to clash with Kaiser, as we see Rin hit Kaiser with a shoulder charge. As he says, but he planned to clash with Kaiser. Rin says, Isagi, destroying your greatest passion is my greatest pleasure. However, Kaiser is not done, and he says, sorry, but as we see his vines begin to wrap around, Kaiser grabs Rin by the shoulder and says, when it comes to physical contact, I had a very special education ever since I was a kid. As he flings himself into the air and begins to use the Kaiser impact to kick the ball away from Rin. He says, this posture, he's spinning in the air. Kaiser says, I'm a piece of shit, and my upbringing was way worse than yours. As Kaiser kicks the ball away from Rin, destroying the Puppet Master hand. Isagi says, are you a god, you damn superstar? And the final remark of the chapter says, Kaiser, who grew up in the dark, defends by a thread. It's time to counter. To be continued in the next week, titled Fastest. So, what do you think about this entire chapter, Raven?
It's one of the better chapters we've been given in a while, in my opinion.
Can I get your opinion, like, overall as to why? Because, like, when I was reading this, I feel like you could have just cut this chapter and it really wouldn't have meant much. Like, because really, what happened? If we're being truthful, what really happened? Like,
what really happens is of course Kaiser's very important moment of actually beating Rin outright for the first time in something, and it may have just been in one attribute, but it has been that Kaiser has beaten Rin in something.
But here's the deal: there's been no real development in the chapter. Overall, through every chapter, there is at least some kind of development for the plot or the story. Nothing.
Yeah,
really
but it's what it's what this leads to, and of course, like my opinion is going to be different from yours. You're going to say, "Oh, there's no development." To me, that doesn't matter too much because this builds to a whole nother big thing. Not to mention the action within it has been sublime. So, and that's why I like to see the action.
If nothing comes of it, though, like if nothing happens because of this, like it wasn't worth.
That's just it would just be a difference. It would just be the difference in our values. If nothing happens from this chapter, it's whatever. But I believe something definitely will happen, considering like this is probably PXG's final charge.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. Like, in terms of like, can you guys not hear me clear? Hey Raven, can you check the stream and tell me if I'm talking clear? Or like, my microphone hasn't been adjusted at all.
Yeah, you are quiet.
Okay, hold up.
In regards to an earlier message, voice acting positions have not been decided. Feel free to continue to submit your applications. We'll be going through them at some point within the next week or so. I don't know.
Yeah, here's the thing. Like, in terms of like the voice acting thing, we're currently looking at we're currently headhunting some people for like Kaiser. Because I've had a lot of people send in really, really good Kaiser submissions, and I've been kind of talking with them on like in particular. But currently all of the other roles are still open till mid-February, which at that point we're going to be going through and reaching out to people. So the final cast will be decided in March. Your last chance to submit voice acting roles is mid-February. But if you've already sent one in, do not send multiple ones in. It just crowds it, makes the whole process longer for us. If you want to send in the new submission, delete your old one. Like, I don't want to have to go through 8 submissions by one person. Like, it's not something I want to deal with. So if you're going to send in your auditions, just send one in. At this point, the match will need another reread before coming to a final conclusion. Here's the deal. In terms of like when I think this is like where Raven said, I think this is the final charge for PXG. I think this is at this point, like this is their final counter that's going to lead to faster mention winning. Like honestly, they've done like here's the thing with PXG, they've done pretty much everything they can to score, and they haven't. But Kaiser and Isagi still have room to play.
Yeah, especially considering like their attempts were foiled by Ness. Not really any aspect of their play. They could have scored if Ness, actually cooperated with Isagi instead of Kaiser.
Yeah,
but
if Ness gave them the
didn't
pass,
happen.
they would have won. The game would have ended right there. So it's like,
But PXG have made countless good decisions that only resulted in them getting countered.
yeah,
So it just means that their best is not good enough.
yeah. Especially because Rin is pretty much just becoming like, he's really turning into Bado. Like, if he had passed to Shido there, Shido probably would have scored. Like, Rin is now getting like, Rin's flow state is pretty much the opposite of like Isagi and other people's flow states of dropping your fixations, because Rin is just becoming too fixated, and it's kind of, it makes him stronger, sure, but it's becoming a negative in the longer run. So I don't know. In terms of like, I've seen so many people say, "Oh, Rin is now too broken." Like, he's not. Like, Rin is only appears to be broken here because, like, he's playing against Isagi, who is his perfect matchup. Like, I mentioned this to Ravin. A fire type Pokemon is gonna look stronger even if it's weaker. Like, if you have a fire type like a Heatmore, not a very good fire type, but you put him against a grass type who's good, the Heatmore is gonna do really, really well because it's just really good in terms of matching up. Doesn't mean the Pokemon itself is good. Like, Rin is still good. He's just doing exceptionally well because of who he's matched up against. Going to the World Cup, I don't even think Rin will enter his flow state until the quarterfinals. Minimum. Like, that's what I think. What do you think about that, Ravin? What do you think about Rin being too overpowered?
Ren has always stated to be like the best player BLUELOCK, like best individual player BLUELOCK. And it's only further confirmed with Kaiser admitting like, oh, Rin is better than me. So even before this whole chemical reaction between Isagi and Kaiser, where people after Rin stopped their chemical reaction, people are saying that Rin is too busted. Rin has previously been stated to, well, like indirectly implied to be better than Kaiser by Kaiser himself. So it's understandable to why Rin is able to stop their plays. We just got to consider the fact that like Rin is the final hurdle. Rin is that final hurdle that only Isagi and Kaiser through their teamwork can find a solution to overcome.
Yeah.
It's without them teaming up, they would likely have lost already.
Yeah. Also, in terms of who they're playing, like, PXG isn't, like, Bastard mentions one of the strongest clubs in Germany, right? But they're not like the World Cup team. Like, Germany's World Cup team is undoubtedly stronger than Bastard mentioned. Like, the opponents they're gonna face are stronger than who they're currently playing. Like, I get they just seem strong, but just that's just from our perspective. Wait till they get to the World Cup. There are going to be opponents who they're going to struggle against.
Right now they're facing U20 teams. Everyone besides the Masters and everyone besides the Masters, aside from Loki, are over under 20.
Well, aren't they going to be facing people? Aren't they going to the U20? Is there a U20 World Cup? I assumed there was.
Yes, there is a U20 World Cup, and then there's an actual World Cup in this series.
Yeah, so when they go to the U20 World Cup, they're going to be facing U20 players.
Yeah.
Like here, example. Take Loki. Loki is the bar. He's really good, right? But you can't assume that everyone else who plays for the World Cup teams are gonna be drastically worse. Like, they're gonna be like not on his level, but they're gonna be somewhat relative. They're gonna be good. They're gonna be really good players.
There could just be an argument where there's also like just better New Gen 11 players. Like, we've seen the bar with Sai, but what if there's just better New Gen 11 players out there?
Yeah, like, We would like. Here's the thing. I want a new Gen 11 who isn't necessarily insanely good. Like they're good, but I don't want them to immediately smoke. I want them to be a new Gen 11 because of popularity. Because all of their plays are super flashy. Because they're very like good with hyping up a crowd, hyping up a stadium.
Yeah, I mean,
what I
a
would
New Gen
want.
11's mostly a promotional title rather than any sort of skill set.
Like imagine a Brazilian New Gen 11 who's just so good at like entrancing the crowd.
Yeah, charismatic.
Yeah, charismatic, entrances them, a dribbling-esque New Gen 11. Like Bachata, but better. That could be why Bachata is gonna get center focus in the later story. Have him like be a dribbler who's very like Bachata, a very elastic dribbler, but is much better than him. Like, I'd be interested in something like that. Because all the new Gen 11s we've seen, the only one who actually seems somewhat nice is Lorenzo. Kaiser's a dick, and Sai's an asshole. Like, Lorenzo, he's chill. So I want to see more happy, charismatic players who are just in it for the love of the sport, like Shido. You know? That's what I'd be interested in seeing. But, anyways. Yeah. We've only been here for 20 minutes. You guys want to submit some of your questions for us to debate and talk about? Go through some. Do you have anything off the top of your head, Ravin, that you'd be wanting to?
Nah.
No? You have no debate topics?
Nah.
Yeah? Alright. You guys in chat, send us your the question you want us to debate. Because we got time. We got here for at least another 20 minutes. So like why not, you know?
Yeah. Bro said, yeah, hold on. He's about to pull out the list.
Yeah, he's waiting for us to not steal his idea. If we don't let him finish his sentence. Yeah, like you guys have questions you want us to try and answer for you, like if about the story that you need clarification on. If you have
yeah, do you have any
debate about a
questions about
topic.
Embers? We kind of know all of the events of Embers right now.
Yeah, because we're just like that.
Yeah, the author was just like, you know what, I'm gonna tell you guys because he seemed cool.
Yeah. Which, by the way, we're gonna be covering that. At least I'm gonna be covering it. I think Raven said he might. I'm gonna at least cover it for chapter 1 and see how you guys like it.
Same.
Nagi versus the Genius. Sorry, I'll let you take it.
Yeah, no, I was gonna read the same thing. But I mean, Rin is a better player, but Nagi is definitely more genius-esque.
Yeah. I think Nagi and Reo both lie on the spectrum of being 100% talented learner versus 100% genius. Like, I think Reo being that 100% talented learner is what makes him copy so well and be able to copy.
Mm-hmm.
But
Why do you think that? I feel as if though this question just has already an automatic answer. Kyoto makes the top 23 because he got one assist. Seems kind of stupid, but it makes sense for his philosophy of like hanging in the balance, kind of being the underdog. But Tokimitsu got a yellow card this game. I believe his bid will possibly decrease because of it.
Yeah.
Because Tokimitsu is already not on a well-established character in terms of like performance in the NEL. He's only gotten places because of Rin, and since then he's not really contributed much. He's either lost the ball or made like a very short pass or whatever. It's just not done much.
I personally think there's another question I want to talk about. Like, it keeps being said that Chigity without the injury would be as good as Rin, but what would he have developed for that to be true? I want you to look at it like this. Chigity right now is the closest to where he was prior to his injury. Because here's the thing. If Chigity never got injured, he, number one, when you're going to get the injury, your leg is obviously going to get weaker. Right? No matter your physical therapy, it's going to get weaker. Chigity just got that physical therapy enough for him to maintain, like, his leg decently strong. Enough to, like, it not be an issue anymore, but it's still not as strong as prior to the injury. his stamina, because he didn't train for so long, is also what took a huge nerf. Right? Like, in terms of, like, just looking at the NEL stats, like, Raven and I were doing this earlier. Like, take a look at, we saw some, like, fan Rin stats for the NEL, and Rin was a 95 overall, right? But his speed is a 92. His dribbling's in 90. His speed's 93. His dribbling's 92. Shooting's 95. Offense 95. Like, if I look at Chigity's stats, and just in terms of offense, right? In terms of offense, Chigity's 98 in speed, 5 points higher than Rin in speed, 93 in dribbling, 1 point higher than Rin in terms of dribbling, and his offense is exactly the same. If those stats were to be true, if you don't have him be injured, he's very similar to Loki going into this. Not in terms of speed, but in terms of style. Just getting the ball and rushing past people. Because Chigity's entire thing was he had to kick the ball far and then sprint. But if Chigity has his stuff, he can just keep the ball on him and run at max speed. Which is the biggest issue with Chigity, was the fact that he had to kick the ball farther and then sprint to it. Instead, he could just have the ball be with him at all times while being insanely fast. You can argue that I never said that he'd be better than Rin. I think he'd be as good. I think he would be, in terms of, like, Rin is great in terms of technical shooting and game IQ. Chigity would take the physical speed aspect of that. That's what I think. What do you say to that, Raven?
I agree.
You agree with that?
Yeah. It's reasonable.
Yeah.
It's fucking maniac, yeah.
Is Isagi a middle ground due to the light novel spatial awareness? Could he be part prodigy, part genius? I think Isagi is like 20% genius, 80% talented learner. I think you guys are taking, like, I think the genius and talented learner concept definitely needs some more explanation, or I should review.
There should be more categories of it, because, like, there should be, like, a subset. You know how is, like, the mostly agree, the slightly agree, and then the mostly disagree, slightly disagree. There should be a category for that with talented learner and genius, where it's like you're either on, like, completely on one side of the spectrum or the other, or you're, like, slightly leaning towards the middle ground.
Yeah. Like, what characters would you say are perfectly 50-50? I would say Kaiser. I would say Kaiser is a perfect middle ground.
Kaiser definitely can be one. Of course, like like, what is confirmed to us is that we know Ego directly visually shows this with his explanation of genius and talented learner. Burū is a genius, Bachid is a genius, Nagi's a genius, Karasu is a talented learner, of course. But if I was to go 50-50, you would just be any of the characters that weren't, like, visually stated to be as such in that list, because clearly it's implying that most the characters who are either genius or talented learner are more so that in terms of the other. Isagi is definitely more talented learner. I don't think he's close to a 50-50.
No, that's why
Kaiser's definitely closer to genius than Isagi would be.
Yeah. Do you believe we see a genius x genius? Well, we kind of are. Shido x Rin. That's kind of what we're seeing here. And the issue with that, the issue with this game is that it makes sense in terms of, like, the stuff, but it's very. All right, I'm gonna try and word this. So, genius x genius and prodigy x prodigy, or talented learner x talented learner. I'm gonna just call it prodigy just for the simple. It's easier to say than talented learner. Genius x genius are good, but they don't elevate each other. Like, you have one genius, cool. Now you have two genius, cool. Their overall skill doesn't go up because geniuses are very individualized. They're not very, like, you would enhance a genius. A genius doesn't enhance another genius. Geniuses can only be enhanced by talented learners, right? Talented learner and a talented learner working together can equal that of a genius, right? That's why Isagi says they're in a hierarchical system that stimulate each other. Talented learner times talented learner equals genius. It's like 1.5. It's like 0.5 plus 0.5 equals 1. And for genius times genius, it's like 1 times 1. They don't elevate each other. They don't really elevate each other, right? But the issue is that like you have genius times talented learner in like Hiyori and Isagi, genius and talented learner. They stimulate each other, except the genius is stimulating the talented learner here, which is like the issue that comes up of like why Hiyori and Isagi together couldn't keep Rin, because even then you're not able to get that point. So it's very like we need to see a talented learner stimulate a genius, and I don't think we've seen that yet. Like Isagi has been stimulated by the geniuses around him, but there's been no talented learner to really stimulate a genius. There has been. The only case of that is Sai. Which you can argue whether Sai's a genius or not. If you say he's a talented learner, we have seen how well a talented learner can highlight and enhance a genius. But we haven't seen how well we haven't seen anyone from the Blue Lock team stimulate a genius. So I think that's what we're missing.
Goals scored in this current match. Shido has had a Isagi with his 2-gun and volley. Rin Kaiser with his Magnus, and Rin with his explosion.
Yeah. What would you rate higher in football? Individual success or team success?
I mean, this series definitely initially teaches you the value of individuality, but realistically, it definitely does teach you team value, because chemical reactions is a highlight in the second selection. So Ego is building up a team, but just a team of egoists who all strive to get the same accomplishment by scoring. So in most instances, someone who's easily capable of soloing and completely demolishing the opposition is very valuable, because that just means that your one individual player is better than a team of players.
Like, Ego really pushes the idea of focusing individuality and in hopes of enhancing and highlighting the talented learners. Like, by pushing the importance of individuality, you then have... Actually, no, there's another Blue Lock talented learner, Ryo and Nagi. Bringing back to the previous point, sorry, it just clicked in my mind. Ryo elevated Nagi, and we saw that in Manshine. Like, they still elevate each other. It's just that they haven't gotten the individual training or development themselves to replicate it effectively. Yeah, he pushes very individualized ideas to hope to stimulate talented learners who then can stimulate the geniuses back. That's just what I think. There's another question back up here that I want to talk about. Is Destroyer Rin better than Sai already? People assume Sai is so clear of everyone. Here's the thing. I think Sai is better than all of the other New Gen 11s. However, it's easier to argue and more feats-wise accurate to argue that Sai is one of the worst ones. But narratively, Sai is being built up to be the best. Currently. He's built up to be the best currently.
Yeah, you got to think like the situation in which Rin has placed himself in. By getting rid of Sai as an impulse, would he even be able to enter flow against Sai again?
No.
Yeah, that's the whole argument. So because of that, Sai is still better.
I think if you're putting it like this, it's the rock, paper, scissors thing all over again. Like, Rin is a perfect matchup to players like Isagi, Kaiser, and Sai. But there are players who are still better than him. Right? Like, if you take away the fixation of Sai, like if you gave Sai and Rin a very good relationship, Rin is not getting into Destroyer mode. And even when he gets into Destroyer mode, it's just a 1v1 matchup that excels the two, right?
Yeah.
Like, Rin is better than Sai in the matchup of Rin versus Sai. But in terms of just, like, overall stuff, I don't know. I think midfielders are genuinely going to be valued more than strikers because they can elevate the strikers while still scoring goals themselves.
Yeah, it's also the case of like with Nagi's case, he's only as good as his the person providing him passes. So if he had Sai as a passer, he would be really really good.
Yeah,
Some geniuses really
I
benefit from passes because of that. Like
yeah.
so, Nagi and Shido are only as good as the passes or the people that provide them the passes.
Yeah, like we see right now, we see players like like we see Kaiser and Isagi, they're playing center forward, they're coming back to defend. Realistically, in the World Cup, they won't be doing that. Meaning,
Yeah.
do you value the striker's ability to score goals over what the midfielders can provide in terms of assists, defense plays, and scoring goals themselves? I think midfielders have the advantage in terms of being overall more valued and should be. But just
Mm.
because the strikers are the reasons the games you can win the game the majority of the time, I think that's why they're perceived to be higher value.
You also got to perceive it as like I love this talk of regarding like Sai and Isagi's paths. Isagi is in an environment where he's being motivated to be a striker, while Sai likely was in an environment motivated to be a midfielder. When when both of their versatilities and abilities actually best fit midfielder, but Isagi, due to harnessing that ego and wanting to be a striker, ended up actually becoming one.
Yeah.
And
Like,
Isagi has midfield-esque abilities,
yeah, he
but
has the qualities.
so he in himself is a very valuable player, even if he's not placed as midfielder, because he has the versatility to go back and defend. He has the versatility to make he's the versatility to make playmaking decisions and abilities. Just
Mm-hmm.
he is the variant of Sai
But
that's
that's because
more
that's what talented
idealistic.
learners do. Talented learners are
Exactly.
traditionally midfielders.
Exactly.
Like
So,
what? Okay, hold up. Is Aiku a genius?
um, I wouldn't say so. No.
Because Aiku you could even consider technically a midfielder. Like he plays defense and he's played striker, but because he has those offense and defensive capabilities, he's fitting that midfielder role. Plus, he can connect passes really well. Like talented learners are usually on the midfield to defensive side. At least if you're more leaning towards talented learner. That's why I think Kaiser's the perfect 50-50 because he has those genius qualities in the mutation of the Kaiser impact. And he also has Predator Eye, which is a more genius exclusive weapon. Like, I definitely think if you're leaning more genius, you're going to be more striker based. If you lean more talented learner, you're going to be more midfielder to defense based. That's what I think.
Do you feel the analytical side of Rin, along with his historical mind, is what make him so like? I don't think he's likable at the moment.
No, I don't
People
think so either.
don't like how he's overpowered. But
Yeah.
no, those aspects are definitely separate. Um, he one like evolves around impulse, and the other evolves around being rational in your approach. Um, he definitely has both sides, but his impulse in destroyer mode is much better, which is why he mostly utilizes that. But against Isagi, he can't outmatch him in that category.
Yeah.
Because it's just become predictable. So he needs to take an analytical approach.
Yeah. Um, I think another question was asked, and I think is interesting. Second and third selection Rin, is that better than Isagi? Are we talking about like performances? Like, are you saying Rin during second selection has shown to have better feats than current Isagi? Or are we asking like if you put current Isagi in a matchup against Rin, like Rin versus Sai? What's the question there? Because like if we're talking feats and what Isagi can do, this is so hard because there's so many factors to consider. Like, are we saying that like Rin and Isagi currently have? If you put Isagi, then do they have the same rivalry with each other? Like, does Rin consider Isagi to be his rival in the same way that he does now? Because if so, Rin can get into his flow state, and his flow state, Isagi can't beat him in flow. But if Rin doesn't have his flow state, I think Isagi is.
Mm.
Because we're talking Isagi not only with Metavision, but with Omnivision. He's semi-ambidextrous. He has the twin gun volley. He's got great off the ball movements and great stamina. Like, I'm pretty sure prior to the Ubers game, Isagi was even compared to Rin in terms of vision.
Yeah.
So Manshine Isagi had Rin's vision. So now you're putting pretty much end of PXG Isagi vision against Manshine level vision. Like, he's gonna have better vision. Physique and speed, probably not. But in terms of game IQ, Rin is not on Isagi's level anymore. At least second selection. So, like...
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's where you put that regard. I think Isagi is definitely better than Rin if we're talking second and third selection Rin. If their rivalry is not what it is now. If their, like, relationship can't stimulate Rin into flow, then Isagi beats him. But if no matter what Isagi, if Rin gets into flow, he's a perfect counter to Isagi. Like, I don't know. There's another thing that came up is, people want to say Lorenzo's good at 1v1s. I argue he's the worst. Out of all the characters, he's the worst at 1v1s, and I can explain why. Okay. Lorenzo really hasn't been shown to win a 1v1 versus someone. His entire thing is just sticking with a person, getting the ball, and then immediately sending it off. The only 1v1s he's really won is a dribbling match against Kunigami. And is that really it? Like, he's just kind of marked with Kaiser, and even then he's kind of relative of, like, neither of them gets the ball.
There's a reason why his nickname is the Ace Snatcher. He's snatching passes.
Yeah, but, like, the whole thing is he's not good 1v1. He's not good. Like, he probably could be, but in terms of, like, if Kaiser has the ball and Lorenzo is now coming to press him, I'm pretty certain Kaiser could still get past Lorenzo. It might be at a stalemate, but, like, it's not a matter of Lorenzo is taking the ball off of Kaiser. He's not.
I'm not gonna say Lorenzo wouldn't win 1v1s because he is such an unpredictably based player with his style of, like, moving around that it will throw off opposition. He's tricky. He's just a tricky player.
Yeah.
He's not like Bachata, where Bachata has a kind of like an idealistic way of dribbling because of his own impulses and then his own strategies. Lorenzo just moves really weirdly compared to a lot of other players, so that throws you off initially. So
here's the thing: Lorenzo has 99 in dribbling, 99 in defense. However, the stats are in relation to how they do their stuff. Like, Lorenzo's a 99 in defense because of his man-mark style of defense being that effective.
Yeah.
Well, if Lorenzo doesn't have the ball and he's just coming to press, he couldn't even take the ball from Hiyori.
Yeah, Hiyori was just busted though, so
like,
but the balancing for Hiyori was so absurd because we know Hiyori's still above a 90 total, which is crazy. No, still below a 90 total.
He was below an 80 total when he got put in, because Kiora had an 80, and he was the best in numbers.
Yeah, that's just yeah.
Like, someone said,
why does Lorenzo have 99 defending? Boy, he's a new Gen 11 defender. Of course, he's gonna be high in defense stat.
And again, it's in reference to the style in which they play that skill. Like, for example, for offense, Kaiser and what does Kaiser have? I'm pretty sure Kaiser's like 97, 98 or something. Kaiser NEL stats. I'll pull up the exact thing. Kaiser NEL stats. Okay. Kaiser is a 96 in offense, right? And a 98 in shooting. Kaiser is a 98 in shooting in reference to the Kaiser impact. Does that make sense? Like, in the reference to the shooting style he has, he is a 98 in it. Because there's no way you're putting, like, I think... I'm pretty sure Kunigami has pretty high in terms of his shooting as well. Kunigami's 95. Like 95 in his shooting. For just being ambidextrous, being a 95 is not that good. But because he's a 95 in relation to ambidextrous shooting, that's what makes him good. So, like, Lorenzo's good on defense for the man mark style of defense. If you put Lorenzo on Rin as a man marker, Rin is not doing shit. But, like, you could pretty much do the same thing for Kunigami. If you put Kunigami on Rin, Rin isn't doing anything until Kunigami runs out of stamina or until someone comes to help him. Like, that's the whole thing. That's why when Ness came to help Kaiser, they could get Lorenzo off of him so easy. Unless you get help or they run out of stamina, pulling off a man marker is not hard to do. I don't know. That's what I think. Yeah, dude, this thumbnail is really, really cool. It was made by Two Horn One. He did
his art always slaps. Check him out on Twitter.
His art does slap. On Twitter, he did a coloring of someone else's art they did of like the Kaiser and Isagi OG drawing. And I had like nothing for a thumbnail, so I just said I'm gonna just pull the first image I have and make it as the thumbnail because I had nothing for the stream at the time. So I just threw it in there. But yeah, another question I saw asked, who's better, Shido as a defender or Aiku as a striker? I think Aiku is a striker, right? Because, like, you put Aiku as a striker, he's pretty much just on Isagi's level, maybe a little worse. But, like, Aiku's got the vision, same as Isagi. He's got better physique. Like, what do you say, Ravin?
Don't know. Yeah, don't know. No, don't leave me with a question.
Your turn. Your turn to answer a question.
I will answer something else in chat.
Okay.
Oh, they're just arguing over everyone else.
Yeah.
Lorenzo has not enough feats. Yeah, well, yeah, we've only seen him in one match.
Yeah, Lorenzo actually kind of has worse feats than Sai, or less feats than Sai, because Sai was one of the main focuses of the U20 game, while Lorenzo wasn't even the main focus of the Uber game. Like, he was like the
because he was off screen most of the time marking Kaiser, so the focus went to Burū, Isagi. Then when Snuffy came on, it went to Snuffy. When Hiyori came on, it went to Hiyori.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, Shido has more passes this game than actual shots.
Oh, believe it or not, that's actually mad.
Like what? Shido has gotten like 3 passes in the past 5 or so chapters. Like, he passed to Rin, and then he passed to him again while getting pressured by Igaguri, and then he just passed now. He's 3 passes in the past 5 chapters. When was the last time Shido took a shot? Aside from passing, what was the last time Shido touched the ball? I think it was like when Kunigami went to block him. Like back in chapter 250 or something.
Yeah, I believe that was the last time.
Shido, I'm going to be honest, Shido likely will not get any focus in the story. Maybe ever again.
No, I think an Isagi and Shido pair up is actually due, because Shido can teach a lot to Isagi about his philosophy, in which would actually intrigue him.
Yo, Stylish, we're doing good. Thank you, man. Emerald, do I think Agi was the one who scored during the Ubers versus Manshine game? No, I think it was...
No, it was Chigiri.
No, I think it was Chris Prince.
Was it?
Chigiri's value didn't go up high enough.
Let's pull up.
Yeah. 248 is where the new chapters. No, 246 is when the new bids were shown. Chigiri had, I think he only went up 5 million. I don't think he'd go up 5 million for a goal. He might have, because Bado went up, what, 30 million for 2 goals? but they lost the game. Do you think Chigiri would
Yeah.
have gotten a goal if he scored it the exact same way? Like, if Chigiri scored a goal the exact same way as his other goals, do you think he would have gotten
Yeah,
a
there
bigger
there is
increase?
there is a definite argument. I believe because Chigiri has shown like the full capabilities of his 44-degree Panther snipe and has already showcased his talent, he is reaching a stagnant point where he has to have his team win games in order for him to prove his value more so.
Or contribute an assist to show that he's not just a goal scorer.
Yeah, but that's not his mentality now.
No, yeah.
So
like, Chigiri, post Manshine got a bid of 30 million for his game against PXG, which is 239. I think we saw.
Oh, by the way, I hope at the end of the NEL we get to see other characters' bids like Charles Argy, Ness.
Yeah. Chigiri went up 20 million in the PHG game by getting a goal. So, like, he went 30 for the first one, then he went, which, to be fair, Chigiri was connecting passes during the Manshine game. And he was breaking past people, so that was his first debut as well. So 30 million for all of that. First goal scored, connecting passes being first debut. I think that's decent. But then that leads into the goal itself, or whatever else he did in the PXG versus Manshine game, along with the goal. Was that contributive? Maybe 5 million for the goal, maybe, but I feel like that's still too low. I feel like 10 million.
Yeah, so Chigiri has gotten one goal. Of course, like no confirmation of like who scored in Ubers.
He could have assisted Chris Prince. I think Chris Prince could have done it.
Chris Prince could have done
Chris
it.
Prince keeps telling Agi to pass to Nagi, so I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think he scored. I think if Chris Prince came on, he probably scored a goal for himself.
I would love if Agi scored, but I do believe it. I do also just believe it's Chigiri.
But what do you think Agi's bid is? Give a bid for Lorenzo. Give a bid for Sai. Give a bid for Loki. Give a bid for Charles, and give a bid for Agi. What do you think each of their bid values are?
Start with Charles. I believe Charles would be at a solid 200 mil.
Really, I say 180.
I mean, I believe like Isagi Emrin will surpass him, and that realistically we're in the same ballpark.
Do you think
it's above everyone else besides Rin and Isagi?
Yeah, I think Charles has a 180 just because I don't think his contrarian thing would put him at 200. I think because of how immature he still is.
Yeah, that could work. Then Agi, I believe, would probably be like 215 million.
Agi, I'm gonna be honest. I think his bid is 130.
Nah. That I may be relatively highballing, but I've already said like.
No, yeah, I definitely agree. It could be up there, but I think lowest 130.
You really think that Agi has the possibility of being lower than Shido?
Well, I put it like this, right?
Because what did you say Shido's bid was in predictions?
I think I said either 125 or 130.
So, do you really think Agi is that relative to Shido?
I put it like this, right? Manshine City is not the strongest club in England, while Bayern München is the strongest club. And being the strongest club, they're going to be more popular, they're going to bring in more money, and therefore they can offer their players higher salaries, which is why Kaiser's bid is 300 million. We don't know how strong of a club Manshine is. It's probably strong, but we don't know how like high ball in terms of it. I think 130 is definitely a bare minimum of where it is. Because again, like Ness is only worth 50 million, right? Like Ness is only worth 50 million yen, and
when was that bid?
This was he hasn't gone up though. This bid was like back in Bartra, but he hasn't gone up at all.
Well, is it that he hasn't gone up, or is it he hasn't shown that he's gone up. So it's basically like he has gone up, but it's just been off screen.
Well, we've seen when players get bids, like Kaiser got one.
Yeah, but we don't see everyone get like bids when it comes to non-Blue Lock players. Kaiser's the only example.
Well, when it comes to this, Kaiser was being offered a bid because of what he showed he could do in that game by a different club. And it was a higher value. And then has Ness really done anything different to deserve a higher bid value from the same club?
When the Manshine game, he got another assist.
Well, he got another assist, sure, but he's done exactly what he's been doing from his entire 4 years at Bayern Munich, supporting Kaiser.
I do believe Ness has a higher bid than 50 million after that game, though.
I disagree. I don't think
it just hasn't been shown.
I think the whole point of the NAL of getting the increased bids for this stuff is because okay.
You're saying for a still good performance, he doesn't get an increase in his bid.
I think from where he's at, because he's. I don't think so. I think because
I think that's super unreasonable of you. I think we were genuinely just not shown anything, because Ness still getting an assist is still something positive to contribute to his attributes. And as much as he does the same thing, Burū doing the same thing with getting the goals in the same way, only increasing his bid by 20 mil.
30 mil, I think, right? He went 130.
Yeah, well, either way, Ness still contributed in a meaningful way. He would not still be at 50 mil if we were taking this realistically. What would be the point of him even playing in the case of getting a higher bid amount if one assist doesn't contribute to anything?
Wait, you do mention you think after Manshine he would have gotten an increase?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure Isagi says that his value is the same as Ness, the 50 million. It was never stated different.
Because Isagi was never visually shown Ness's bid.
Yeah, he was. He was shown in
in Barca, he was not shown in after Manshine game.
He literally says right here, Noah says, and who surpassed Rensuke Kunigami and won himself a value about triple of his previous one was you, Yoichi Isagi, with your 50 million yen offer. Furthermore, the offer was from Bayern Munich, and 50 million yen is the same as Ness's value. That was said by Noah, which we see Ness's bid afterwards of 50 million. Noah said it, not Isagi. Noah said.
Okay, and when did we see Kaiser's bid then?
Kaiser's bid was after Ubers.
Okay.
Which Ness didn't give an assist at all during Ubers.
Okay, so in relative to the increase, since we didn't get an increase in Kaiser's bid, I'm going to assume since we didn't get an increase in Kaiser's bid after Manshine, I'm going to assume the same was applicable to Ness, and we just never saw it.
What do you mean, that Kaiser never got an increase after Manshine?
No, we didn't see the increase in his bid until after Ubers. But Ness is in that same boat. We didn't see an increase in his bid, but he did get an increase in his bid. We just wasn't visually shown it. Whilst Kaiser, we have visually seen.
I don't think Ness contributed less in Ubers than he did in.
Yeah, but that doesn't
that
doesn't take away from the fact that I do believe he has an increased bid. We just haven't seen it.
With what evidence gives you the reason that he got an increased bid when he did less in Ubers than he did in Manshine? That in Manshine didn't net him a bid. He didn't get a single assist, which is his only job on the team, is to provide Kaiser with an assist, and he didn't get that. He didn't do anything of different.
I think it's completely disingenuous to disregard his earlier assist. So if they're calculating for 2 games, he still did get an assist. That's still a bid increase. I'm not arguing that is an immense bid increase. I'm arguing that he just did get a bid increase. If your argument is that any positive attribute is not worthy of somewhat of an increase, even small. If we were to go back to the argument of Shiguri getting a goal and possibly only getting 5 mil, that's still an increase. Even if it's so small and insignificant, it's still an increase because of the contribute. how he contributed. Ness contributed in the Manshine game, and yes, he did worse in the Ubers, but he still had contributing factors. So therefore, he would realistically get an increase. And just because we haven't been visually shown it, doesn't mean shit. We haven't seen anyone else's bid values besides Kaiser in recent times, not factoring in any of the Blue Lock players. So yes, I do believe Ness has a higher bid. We just haven't seen.
Okay, can I just give you a reason why?
It genuinely won't change my thought process, but sure.
Okay, and if it doesn't, after I provide you all the evidence, I got nothing for you. So, the entire point of the NAL bids is to show what you can do and show your worth, right? And the reason why Isagi's original value at 17 million was because he assisted Kunigami, right? Showing that he can assist players. That was his worth according after Barcha. That was what club owners had perceived of him. At least from the NEL, from his worth in the NEL, that he's going to assist players, right? Going into which is why I get a 17 million yen bid, right? Going into Manshine, he assisted 2 players in Kunigami and Yukimiya, but he was also an entire playmaker, creating goal-scoring opportunities in situation, which is what netted him a triple increase. According to Noah, he literally says that Isagi's value was tripled because of his positioning, intercepting, pass combinations, in various aspects. He was the most dangerous player on the field. That is something new that Isagi did not show he was capable of in the Barcha game. Going into the Ubers game, that is now the bar. But then Isagi not only scored 2 goals, but got an assist to Kaiser, an indirect assist, but it was still an assist to Kaiser. So not only is Isagi showing that he can score goals, but he was linking up with Noah as well, and he was creating situations for his team to score even without Hiyori, which then he stimulated Hiyori into awakening, letting him be the reason they won the game. Ultimately, tripling his value again. Now setting the bar of he creates goal, he can score goals, he creates plays, and everything he did prior. That is now the bar. And going into the PXG game, Isagi's been doing that and more with what he's been able to do. Now linking up with Kaiser, someone who he completely was hateful towards and refused to work with. That is now a new level of the bar. But what has Ness shown that has increased that bar at all? Ness from Bayern München was given a 50 million yen bid from his incredible ability to assist Kaiser. Who's to say that in the 4 years he's been on Bayern München and has had that 50 million yen value, which it probably wasn't prior, probably wasn't 50 million off the rip, he probably built it up, but who's to say that anything he's done recently in the NEL has been more than what originally gave him that 50 million yen bid? Like, the Blue Lockers aren't really that well known. They won against the Japan U20 team, sure, but this is them establishing themselves. And they're establishing themselves way more than I think that Ness has or is establishing himself. So what has Ness done that has set the bar higher to deserve a higher bid than 50 million yen?
So, to start, because I already know all of those arguments, my opinion has not changed.
But you haven't answered the question. What has Ness?
No. I've not answered the question because I was just stating that.
No, but can you answer the question? What has Ness shown that has set the bar higher than what Bayern München already knows he can do in the 4 years he's been on that team?
So, in comes to previous showcases, right? Of course, the NEL is the current standard of what individuals are able to show in terms of their skill set. But of course, Ness has accolades in which has been built up since then. So not only is he an established player, but he's also the individual who is known to be a reliable asset to Kaiser. So by proxy, before this match with PXG, he would actually be suffering from the effect of being the main link up with Kaiser, in which would actually gradually get a bid at the same time. So Ness, even without proper contribution with assists, would still get a proxy bid increase alongside Kaiser as Kaiser's closest ally at the time. Not to mention, with the calculation over the Manshine game, if it took until after Ubers for Kaiser's bid to increase only by 20 million after getting 2 goals, sure.
But it wasn't
Ness,
the Manshine game that contributed to the value
not
increase.
finished.
It was the
I'm
bicycle
not finished.
kick.
I'm not finished.
Okay.
If it was to contribute to that, that's a very small increase for 2 goals. But if it was just for 1 goal, that's still a very small increase. But as much as like that seems like a small increase, you gotta imagine like how high of a number that is already, because naturally clubs are going to offer less and less money the higher amount that you're going to go. So like, for example, if Isagi is going to have a bid of 200 million, he's going to have a considerably less increase from the ground up. So if you started from 0, of course, anything above 0 would be an immense increase and jump way higher really quick because it's offering money from 0. However, if you're offering money from already a high bid amount, you're less likely to increase that far. Ness starting from 50 million as a passer who has a stat total of 93. He is one of the highest stat total characters in terms of passing, besides like Sai, most likely, that we've seen in the series. If we were to consider the fact that he was on 50 million, still had an assist from Manshine, and maybe hasn't contributed much for Ubers, but his team still won. And that's also a factor we got to consider. With Nagi's decrease in bid value, it's because he's been losing games and because of him not performing up to his standard. Ness was only accomplishing one of the two in terms of in a decrease. So if he was to get a bid increase, he would likely still be the same after getting his assist from Manshine. But what I think is that the add up from the Manshine assist and not doing anything from Ubers just means that he just had a really low increase rather than anything of significance. So what do I believe Ness deserves? Like after those 2 games, not high of an increase. I would say anywhere from 55 to 60 million, which you can listen to that. That's not much. Still an increase though. What I would genuinely overall believe is because of it's easier to increase someone of that value than someone of Kaiser's value, and that's shown through Kaiser only getting a 20 million increase through his performances, which he would likely get more, but that's only because he's such a high level, and Ness seems so much more reasonable to have a small increase, even if he hasn't contributed much, because you are able to put down that money on the table because he's already on a bid of 50 million, which is much easier to increase from than 300 million.
Okay. So I want to put it like this. You believe that what would contribute to Ness getting his thing is Manshine and Ubers. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. That doesn't work because the values happen after the game. The values from Manshine aren't calculated into Isagi's next bid. Like, Isagi got 50 million because of his performance in Manshine City. Isagi didn't get 150 million because of he didn't get a 100 million increase because of his performance in Manshine. He got it solely because of Ubers. No, it's not specifically said, but and while you were asleep, the next salary auction took place. Meaning the bids were given based off of Manshine. Meaning if no bids went up, nothing in Manshine acquitted to your value. Meaning Ness getting the assist and Manshine did not increase his value, as stated by Noah. That would not at all change going into Ubers. If his value would have gone up because of the assist, it would have happened after Manshine, where he legitimately got the assist. And I get the point you're saying of that he's the closest person to Kaiser, but the reason why Kaiser and Ness's values didn't increase in Manshine is because in chapter 241, the goal that Kaiser scored is similar to the one he scored in 241 during the Bastard München tryouts, where he threaded the needle past several defenders who they considered to have eliminated his shot course. Like, it's literally nearly said identically the exact same. If you look at 243, sorry, Ness passes the ball to Kaiser, and he says he can't shoot like that. But they're hurrying off to cut off our course. He can't shoot like that. Kaiser still hits the ball through them the same way he does for Manshine. Like, he literally says, threading the damn needle. The scout's like, what the hell did he just do? Right? Like, that is what he did in Manshine. And we know that Kaiser didn't go up, in terms of his value in, we know that he didn't go up in Manshine because I'm gonna pull it up here. I'm 90% certain it shows 300 million to 320 from Kaiser's bid, with Real, showing that Kaiser didn't go up at all. So why would Kaiser not go up when he scored the goal, as opposed to saying that Ness went up, like, because he's getting the assist? Yeah, Kaiser's saying up 20 million yen, meaning from Manshine he didn't increase at all. So if Kaiser, the guy who actually scored the goal, didn't go up, why would Ness go up at all from his thing?
I just genuinely think it's an inconsistency.
It's more of, if you show something new to what you can do, like 50 million is what you can do for being an assister, for what you've shown to be able to do. If you can't show anything different, your bid will not increase. You're worth 50 million yen for being an assister and a passer for what you've shown to be able to do. If you can't show anything different, your bid will not go up. That's why Nagi and Rayo's bid values keep going down, because they're underperforming and not being able to put out anything relative or above what they were able to do. And that's why you have, like, Bada went from 0 to 100 because he scored a hat trick using a stealth kill shot. That's why he only went up 30 million, because he scored a stealth kill shot, but then he also usurped Ubers, which is something that he wasn't able to do. He took over Ubers, and it convinced all of the team to work under him, scoring a double nutmeg goal, which is something that he's never been shown to do. That's why his value it scored 2 goals, but it went up. Right? And again, these guys aren't known to the world. Kaiser and Ness are more known because they've been on the team for 4 years. So their values are more solidified of what the team knows they can do. And if they haven't shown to do anything of different, why would they increase the bid for doing something they've been consistently doing for 4 years at the same value? Unless they put something new forward, it doesn't make any sense to them. Kaiser got an increase in Ubers because he's done his bicycle kick. Something that we can assume he has not done before. Because it's something new that is equating a higher value. If Ness hasn't shown to be doing anything of value that is more than what he's already been established for the past 4 years of doing, he is not going to get an increase, and he's going to stay at 50 million yen. If Ness awakens, 100% I could see him getting an increase in bid value, because he's doing something new. If he awakens and he assists Isagi, or he scores a goal, both of those things is something that he hasn't been shown to do yet, which could justify an increased value. But he hasn't shown to do anything different yet, which is why I don't believe he's got an increased bid value. And I'm pretty sure, and all the evidence is pointing towards Ness not having an increased bid value. He's staying the same. Like, the whole thing of Kaiser saying, if you don't evolve, you can't go. So why would, if he hasn't evolved or changed at all, why would you give him a higher bid value? Seriously. Would you give Ness a higher bid value for doing the exact same stuff that he's been doing the past 4 years at the same value for?
It's the effect. No, because I still think there's multiple arguments. The effect of Kaiser and also still winning games is another contributing factor.
The effect of Kaiser getting an increase didn't come from Ness.
But the effect of Kaiser getting an increase would also attribute to Ness, because they're closely collaborative. They're closely collaborative.
Kaiser got the increase because of his own individual skill. Nothing about Ness.
Yeah, but would you not argue in the sense of making a great formation, Ness would be positively impactful to Kaiser? This would be at the time, by the way. He's a positively attributing factor to Kaiser at the time. So if Kaiser was able to. Yeah, at the time. We're in PXG. Of course, that's no longer the case. But in Ubers, it's still the case.
No. Ness, the thing that gave Kaiser the increased value was his bicycle kick. There's nothing else he did in that game.
But you're not...
Ness didn't contribute to the bicycle kick.
Yeah, I'm
That's in
aware,
no
but
way,
you're
shape-
not considering the factor of like if Kaiser's such a good individual player, why not provide a slight increase to the person who is able to not only get him into some scoring situations, but also just genuinely we've seen works really well with him. That
Because
would
that's
just
what his
make the
50
most
million
sense.
value is for. He has the 50 million yen value because
Yeah, but
that's
then
what he's been doing. But he's done
I,
nothing different from the 50
I
million
don't
yen.
think
He
neither.
came in with it.
Look, I'm not trying to change your opinion, but you're trying to change mine.
I am, because your opinion doesn't track.
But I'm not changing my opinion, so I think we can end this argument here.
Let's ask the chat. Just I'm curious of chat's opinion. Whether you agree with it or not. Can Kaiser be Goku? Yes, he can. Can Goku do the Kaiser impact? I don't think so. Which automatically puts Kaiser above Goku in terms of what he can do. Kaiser can obviously go Super Saiyan. We've seen him. We've seen him do that. So like, am I wrong? We've seen Kaiser go Super Saiyan. Check chapter 239, I think. 239, Kaiser goes Super Saiyan. His hair turns white. A bunch of aura starts flying around him. Kaiser does go Super Saiyan. Like, Kaiser can do it. Nah, Saitama doesn't one-shot Kaiser, though. Because Saitama can't do the Kaiser impact.
Fuck, it's not even close to the conversations.
Yeah, but, like... I just have one question. I'm gonna relate it to this. Let's say, take away Kaiser and take away Ness and replace it with Isagi and Hiyori. If for 4 years, Hiyori does nothing but assist Kaiser. He does, assist Isagi in the same thing over and over again. He just does the same plays. He does nothing different. Doesn't awaken, doesn't do anything. He just assists Isagi, only assists Isagi, and he earns himself a 50 million yen value. If coming into the NEL here, he continues to do nothing except assist Isagi, and that's what his 50 million yen value was previously given to him for, his exceedingly rare ability, and not rare ability, but exceedingly well ability to highlight Isagi as an individual player. If he does nothing different of value, what justifies him getting a increased value then, opposed to getting one prior to coming to the NEL? Like, if Ness highlights Kaiser so well, why is he only worth 50 million? And why did he not get an increase in Barcha or in Manshine? Why would he only get the assisted? Why would he only get the increase in Ubers, where he arguably did the least amount? Where after we see the bids are calculated after every single match.
I genuinely believe it's an inconsistency.
You can think that, but if by the logic of the NEL, I think the bid values of the NEL are based on what you can show you can do. But if you can't show you doing relatively anything different, your bid value is not going to increase or won't increase much. And after 4 years on Bastion München, I think Ness has reached the stagnant point of he can't go up anymore. Unless he does something new, he can't go up. He won't increase the value.
If the circumstances come down to the Ness actually no longer increasing in value, it's just going to be a case of me disagreeing. And it may be deluded, but my genuine opinion is that results of games equate to value.
This should be a video. There you go. There's a new video, bro.
as much as like consistency and doing the same thing may not attribute to as much value, and even in the case of you not even performing to the same amount of level, results of games also attribute to value. So Uber's winning, and of course Kaiser being an impactful presence on the field is an after effect in which would lead to Ness getting an increase. May not be much. It may not be much. It can be as small as 5 mil or even 2 mil. We've seen very small increases in the NEL. It's very possible, but it's still an increase.
So you think even if you win, you should definitely get an increase?
Yes.
So why did Kaiser not get one in Barcha or in Manshine?
Inconsistency.
Inconsistency, or you're not understanding what the NEL system, how they do their bids. Because if it's the
Yeah,
logic of you have to show something new to your worth to get an increased bid value, that perfectly lines up with every single one of the blue lockers who have who've gotten at least two bids, shows what they're capable of.
there's only been two examples of people who have decreased bids, right? And as much as Kaiser probably did the same thing as he's always done for the first games, and maybe that's why he didn't get an increase or whatever, but there has been a genuine example for like Rayo and Nagi not getting an increase in their bids for just continuously playing, because not only do they not contribute much, but it's also because they're losing. So I would believe they would stay like relatively stagnant otherwise.
So,
But because they're losing, they're causing their team to lose. Them being there is a negative effect. That's why they're getting such immense decreased bids. Whilst Ness, I believe, as much as he is not doing anything new, the team is still winning. And from the Manshine game, he still assisted. Therefore, he did contribute. He would still get the very slight. Yeah, that I believe that slight bit is an inconsistency. We didn't see anything to do with like Ness in regards to that contribution. It may have been stated, but I genuinely believe that's a factor in which should have been clarified more.
Can I ask you though, if they played the same way for 4 years, at what point do you think they become stagnant in terms of like their increased bid? Cool, we won the game, but you did exactly the same thing that you've done in all of your other games, that you have a 50 million yen. Why would we give you more? Why would we give you more money
because it's working
for changing nothing over 4 years?
Because it's working.
But you're increasing a value when he hasn't contributed anything of different worth.
Because okay, so do we want to get into economics and how growth of money works?
But here, hold up. I'm pretty sure they state how the bid system works, like at the very beginning. I'm gonna pull it up. If I'm wrong and they don't state it, that's fine. But we can leave the debate at that, because there's another thing I do kind of want to talk about.
Okay.
The current worth. Clubs all over the world and who you watching. It's your worth. So yeah, Ego says it's your worth. How the BLUELOCK. This is how the BLUELOCK auction works. All right, I'll read through the whole thing. I think you mentioned on 168 at the end, maybe. Taste of the World. Game of musical chairs. Players enter into fully established teams, and they don't get to work unless they can steal a position. And each team has their own water, known as philosophy, blah blah blah, rationality, freedom, or order. There's more than one way to survive in the water. Will you die in agony? Blah 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 blah. Die in your own colors. In any case, escape is an option too. Nobody's forcing you. Sometimes running from an unscapable situation is the best, but now that you've come to understand how to fight in the new Egoist League, it's the end of the match. Now we'll announce the rankings. Your annual salary. Currently, all of the new Egoist League matches are being observed by the World Soccer clubs. All of your plays are being checked, and after each match, they submit bids, and the highest bid will prove your worth. This is our new ranking system, the BLUELOCK auction. These will become official offers once the matches have concluded. These yearly salary values will give you bargaining power with the club teams, and this is your current worth. Including the Japanese league, the clubs from around the world are watching. The owners will be watching all the matches, and the new Egoist League will function as a public market. This is how the BLUELOCK auction works. That's right. You don't get it now. The new Egoist League ends with top 3 members. Blah blah blah. Automatically become the new U20 members. This is a place to hone your skills and to the international rising stars. The place to promote themselves to the world's club owners. This is a mix of BLUELOCK players and the world's rising stars. Is the current ultimate talent market. Your products. We want to test the skills of our popular players. Give us BLUELOCK's number 1, blah, 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 blah. No one was opposed to it. He was required to use Isagi in one match. The product known as Yoichi Isagi proved his worth in that match, and he's been assigned a value. So then winning or losing isn't... So winning or losing isn't as important as making the case for your own worth. Right. Of course, for a striker, that means scoring goals. Didn't think it'd be strange the world superstars will come to play in an undeveloped soccer country like ours. Real-time show. Francis PXG. The subscribers for this content have already surpassed 80 million. Super entertainment. Broadcast the entire world. Oh, that's not... But covers it. In any case, you won't get any offers if you don't play and make a case for yourself. All pass forward will be closed off. You can steal a position to fulfill your original intention, or you can steal another one to another starting position to survive. No matter how you do it, you need to prove your worth. And here's the thing. Has Ness proved his worth over what he's already proven, 50 million? Like, no one else, not even Bastard Munchen, has given him an increase of 50 million. So, Bastard Munchen currently thinks that his plays have not changed to indicate a higher worth. And I think it just comes down to because the blue lockers are taking over. I think if you take, I think it would make sense Ness would get a value for winning outside of the NEL. But because the NEL value is structured on proving your worth, if you cannot prove you do anything different, you're not going to get an increase. Put Ness and the other clubs in an actual auction, maybe he'll get an increase. But again, I think if he's not shown, if he's worth 50 million now for what he's doing, if he continues to do that and he doesn't show anything worth more, he's not going to get a higher value. If he's not worth more, if he's not showing he's worth more, he's not going to get given worth more.
I will
That's just what I think.
From the text you read, right? Yeah. Winning games may not be as important, right? But it's still a factor of importance, which is why...
It's a factor of importance for the blue lockers themselves. I don't think it's as important value for Ness.
Is that clearly underlined as the difference maker?
I think if Kaiser scored his bicycle kick and he still lost, and they lost, he still would have been given his 20 million increase.
Yeah, but there's no proof of that, is there?
There's no proof of that, but like...
Yeah, that's fine.
Can we agree? Can we agree that Kaiser got the 20 million increase heavily favored because he got the bicycle kick? Like, Kaiser wasn't contributed to the win. It was Isagi and Hiyori. Kaiser really didn't contribute to the win at the end. It was just his bicycle kick.
Well, yeah, but he doesn't have to contribute. He doesn't have to contribute to the end result, rather the result in general, because he is the goal scoring factor. So, as much as I do agree, it heavily underlines like him getting the bicycle kick and scoring, yes, but he also helped his team win.
Yeah, he helped his team win, sure, but he wasn't the final deciding factor of winning. Still him scoring the goal. Yeah, but here's the thing. He scored the goal and that led to the win, yes. But the goal itself is what got the increased value. It wasn't him winning, because Isagi and Hiyori were the reason for winning. Sure, they won or not, but if they lost, doesn't matter. We know Isagi was the reason they won. From this perspective, we know Isagi was the reason they won. Not Kaiser. Kaiser sure scored a goal, but the reason he got the increased value was because of the goal he scored. Whether he lost or not, he still would have gotten the increased value because he did something new.
I believe that's the difference in our mentalities of what contributes to a win. You believe the last goal is the biggest contributing factor. I believe every goal is the biggest contributing factor, because every goal built up to that win. The last goal may have decided the game, but every other goal gotten them to that final goal. So...
yeah, I get that. Like, okay.
Then that's just our difference in opinions, and that's fine.
Yeah. All right. The other thing I want to talk about is Hamid, the guy who I credited for helping with the psi theory, right? He's in chat here. He said that he doesn't believe in my theory that Omnivision is Isagi's true flow state. But it really is. Am I wrong for assuming that?
It may not be under the title Omnivision, but his new visual state is completely different from his normal metavision, right? We both know this. We both seen it. It's the puzzle pieces that are going along his eye line, right?
I can prove it. If it's his flow state, I can. Like, I have the proof to show it. Here, I'll pull it up right here.
And we also have like Kaiser commenting on this is Isagi's true ego, shit like that. It's just all pointing towards like Isagi's evolution after having Kaiser help him block Rin's shots. It all leads to Isagi's evolution.
Yeah. Can we contribute these eyes here to being the flow eyes? It happens a lot, and I'm pretty sure I can just argue these are the flow eyes a lot easier than I can argue this point.
Yeah.
Why did the debate of Ness's bid matter again?
It was just us arguing whether or not who deserves a good bid in terms of like I said Agi had a bid of like 250
we were talking about
more.
Agi's like the overall bid. Sorry, that's where we got transitioned off. But like here's the thing. This is
I mean, I
Isagi's
don't-
flow state. When Isagi goes
Yeah,
into
yeah.
flow, he gets the flow eyes, right? Base flow. Anyone gets it. I can show you for Kaiser. I can show you for Rin. I can show you for Shido. I can show you for Burū. I can show you for Nagi. Whenever they are in flow, they have this eye design. Their eye has these squiggly-like lines. That is flow. You cannot argue it because it legitimately is called flow by Ego. Ego literally says he has entered the flow. And what is different about Shido when he's in flow? He has those eye designs. When Aiku is considered to be in flow, he has that eye design. That is two separate, confirmed, directly stated panels saying that is indicative of someone being in flow. When Isagi begins to enter his true flow state, he has this eye design where the puzzle pieces then begin to come out of that eye design, where we then see this. That is no way you can argue this is not a true flow state. This is the closest to an alternative true flow state mode you can get. This is the closest to a destroyer mode for Isagi that we are ever gonna see. And we know that destroyer mode is Rin's flow state. However, if I go all the way back, I think it's chapter 270? I think it's chapter 270. If I go to chapter 270 here. 270. It's 269, sorry. Go to 269 or 27 or 268. End of the chapter. When Rin gets this aura, which we know is the aura that appears when he's going into destroyer mode or his true flow state, he has the flow state eyes. Right there. When Rin gets deeper into his flow state, his destroyer mode, which is his true flow state, he gets this eye design. Different than the standard flow state eye design. Right? How is that any different than what is currently happening with Isagi in chapter 282? If I gave this form, this visualization, if I called that destroyer mode, explain to me the difference between how Rin gets into it and what I just showed you and right here. Please give me the difference. You can't. It's the exact same thing. As for what Omnivision does, I'll explain it quickly. It allows Isagi to think at such a faster speed than he normally can, at a true reflexive thinking process, that he can interpret irrational and illogical plays that his metavision could not comprehend. That's what Omnivision does. That's all it is. Please explain to me how, in terms of visualization, this is any different. This right here is any different than destroyer mode. Please tell me. I would love for you to argue it. I'm saying he's the MC. His true and peak flow state needs to be better than anyone else, just like his metavision evolved flow state also. What? Dude. This is his peak. With metavision, he can predict anything rational. With Omnivision, he can predict anything irrational. How do you get Isagi higher in terms of vision? Isagi already has the second highest game IQ in the series. The highest if you don't include a master striker in Snuffy. You can't say that that his flow state needs to be better unless you can give me an example of how his flow state could be better without it saying it gives him any physical enhancement. Because flow state does not give Isagi a physical enhancement. No flow states give any characters a physical enhancement.
Yeah, it's not an increase rather than using the max capabilities of what their bodies can comprehend.
Yeah.
It's not like a fucking Kaioken. You're not increasing by 2 times the power just because of fucking like convenience. You're using the maximum capabilities your bodies can handle.
It's not at all a physical increase. It is just what you're literally hitting your 100% limit. Explain to me how this is not Isagi's upper limit of his mental and visual processing. Because with Metavision, he can predict anything rational. With Omnivision, he can predict anything irrational. So rational and irrational movements Isagi can predict. Explain to me how he could do it better. Is flow state exclusive? No. True flow state is not exclusive to a character. However, we've only seen it in 3 different characters so far. You can argue we've seen it in 3 additional characters, making 6, being Bado, Shido, and Nagi. Maybe even Rail. But I say you can only... I've said, and I made the argument based on the evidence we have, that we've only seen it in Bachara, Rin, and Isagi. Hamid, please explain to me. I'll wait for your answer. I'll wait an extra minute. If you cannot give me an answer as to how Isagi's flow state could be better than this, being his true flow state. Also, explain to me how this could be any different. How this is not. There's literally his hair is turning white and his kit is glowing. If this isn't his true flow state, what would be? If this is not Isagi's equivalent to Destroyer mode, what would be? You think he needs to be like Goku Ultra Instinct, cool and calm, not panicking. That's literally what this is. Isagi's literally throwing away his fixations with one sole goal of winning.
I don't think like if you're in flow state, you're not panicking. You're not.
You're literally
you're in
between anxiety and boredom.
Yeah, you're in the borderline of anxiety and boredom. Yeah, so why he's not panicking? He's in fact in a good in between. And of course, this is not attributed to Ultra Instinct at all. By the way, it should be completely stated. Ultra Instinct is not like flow state. It's just a made up power up.
Yeah. Do I think Isagi's Omnivision is flawless in terms of like what it is? Yes. In terms of how Isagi uses it, no. I think Isagi needs to understand what he's doing better.
Yeah, he can definitely like be improve outside of his flow state by working on his physicality and stuff. So he can utilize
what it can do. Yes, in terms of how is it the max of where he can utilize it? No. Like think of like the Kaiser impact, right? If Kaiser had no idea what he's doing, it is nowhere near going to be as strong as if he was aware of exactly how he's doing it. The same thing with Isagi here. He doesn't know what he's doing. Right? He doesn't know what he's fully doing. But if he just wants to win and then he's getting into the state. If he's aware of how he's doing it and can trigger it more often, 100% it's going to be better. An adrenaline rush, it gives you more strength, and the difference between flow state and adrenaline rush is flow state is doing it 100% of what you can do. And adrenaline rush is giving you more than 100%. How can Isagi use Omnivision better? Isagi can use Omnivision better just by improving his overall physical abilities. And understanding what he's able to do now. Like, he's pretty much using it to the maximum capabilities of what he can right now.
Also, we should wrap this up. I gotta make food.
Oh yeah.
I've not eaten all day.
I haven't either. Isagi can see the whole field, calculate all rational and irrational plays. The only thing stopping him is a genius who keeps on adapting and destroying whatever he throws at him. No, the thing that's stopping him is Rin. Someone who destroys the entire concept of the field that Isagi then has to adapt to. They're full... With Isagi and Omnivision and Rin in his Destroyer mode, they are full perfect counters of each other. Because Rin can continuously destroy the field, but Isagi can just adapt to it. But here's the thing. You can say it's your opinion, but it's not correct. Calling this Isagi's true flow state is correct. You saying it's not what you like can be your opinion, but you saying that this is not it is wrong. Because I just proved to you that this is correct. The difference is, that what people fail to understand is that when they're proven wrong, they say, oh, it's my opinion though. Sure, your opinion can be like whether you like it or not. Or what you would have hoped it could be or not. But your opinion doesn't justify you legitimately being wrong about what something is and is not. Am I right in that, Raven?
Pretty much.
Like, if you want to argue that you would rather have Rin or you'd rather have Ness as a passer over Hiyori, that is your opinion on why you should argue. But whether you're arguing a character is overall better than the other, you can look at what the characters have done and can do to therefore argue that.
The difference for if we were to argue the difference, when me and Arrow discussed about if Ness is worthy of being increased, there's factors on both sides that can be considered, and there's no evidence to proving otherwise.
Yeah, like
However,
we're going off of speculation of what we think the NEL is, because we don't realistically have a full-on definition. It's mostly speculation.
Yeah, and that can only be attributed once the series ends, where one of us would either get an answer. One of us would either be right, or we will just be left in the dark forever, and we'll just forever have this conversation. But this is Isagi's true flow state, because this is in reference of Isagi's true ego as well.
Yeah, like that's the whole thing. You can argue whether or not you like it or not, but you can't argue that it's wrong when it legitimately has been proven with references to other characters who have been proven, as well as the visual, like, indicators. Isagi, if this is not his true flow state, why is Isagi's hair white? Why are the puzzle pieces literally expanding off of his eye? Why is Isagi's kit glowing? Explain to me what this is if it is not his true flow state.
He started glowing because he put a lamp under his fucking shirt.
I don't know what it could be. And you can't say it's just an evolved form of metavision, because that wouldn't be a visual indicator of his hair glowing. It is his true flow state. You can't say whether it's his true flow state or not. It literally is his true flow state. If Rin's Destroyer mode is his true flow state, why is this not Isagi's? You have not given me any evidence. You just say, well, I guess we'll see. Oh, well, it could be or it could not be. I've proven it is. Give me evidence why he's not. Isagi's not using it restrictively. He's literally dropped his fixations. Right here. I need to drop my fixations. The rivalry towards Rin, the malice towards Kaiser, and my admiration for Noah. If I drop it all, what's left for me is wanting to win. He's free to do whatever he wants now, with the sole purpose of winning. This is the opposite of Destroyer mode, which is very restrictive. Rin needs the pressure in order to destroy something. Like, I don't get your point. You're arguing, oh, it's not it. Here's the proof. Here's comparisons to other confirmed proof. This is it. You can't say otherwise. There'd be no other reason that Isagi's hair would change color, and his literal eyelashes.
Alright, you can, by the way, you can continue the stream as long as you...
I'm calling it here.
Okay.
I'm gonna have a stroke if I keep this up, and I'm starving. So yeah, that was the stream. I hope you guys did enjoy. We went for like literally an hour and 20 minutes of answering your questions. So yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy. Thank you, Ravin, for tuning in. Go check out his Agi video. It's really good. Check the community post. The link to it is right there. It is one of his best videos that he has ever made, and I love it. So yeah, I know you guys will love it too. So go over there. Watch it, sub to Ravin. Become a member on both of our channels to see some exclusive content. And support the Blue Lock New World movie. I'll be dropping an update on the movie, hopefully soon. But yeah, I will see you guys there. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the stream. Yeah, I'll see you guys on